Along comes Hancock.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember that.
Greenpeace does.
Hello, he's Matt, I'm Nat, and we got your geek news right here.
And this time it's a review of Hancock.
Starring Will Smith, Charlize Theron, and Jason Bateman, which I adore.
Now, this really is a superhero movie. It's questionable whether it's a geek movie per se, but it's the story of like the most anti of anti-heroes.
Yeah, it's, Hancock was actually, the idea of it has been kicking around Hollywood since '96, over a decade, and Dave Chappelle was actually initially considered for the role until they heard that Will Smith was interested in it, and then he was immediately cast. So.
And I'm glad they finally did do it, because I think they really nailed it. The ad campaigns were awful, terribly confusing. Is it action? Is it comedy? Is it drama? You know what? I think it hurt the box office, but at the end of the day, the film was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so all the comedy in the trailers happened in like the first act.
Yeah, pretty much, you know, with Will Smith and that child being crazy with him and him drunk, like flying around drunken with like a sneer on his face, crashing into everything while busting bad guys. It was hilarious.
And you know what? The interplay between him and Bateman and the trip to jail are kind of the end of the comedy. Although seeing a man's head thrown up another man's ass, that was entertaining.
Remarkable. Pretty remarkable. And you know what? After a funny debut in Wolverine's X-Men costume, that's exactly what it looked like.
With the exception of the eagle along the back, it essentially was like Hugh Jackman's closet.
But that was like basically like the ending point of that first phase, you know, wrapping up the comedy section and pretty much drama after that, really.
I don't know who I am.
Amnesia. You know, the blow to the head.
Yeah, well, that's what they figured.
You don't remember anything.
Only thing I had in my pocket was bubble gum, 2 movie tickets. Boris Karloff, Frankenstein, but no ID, nothing. I went to sign out. The nurse asked me for my John Hancock. So I actually thought that's who I was.
How come I didn't hear any of this? I didn't read about it in any newspapers?
It was probably in the papers 80 years ago.
80 years ago?
Oh, I don't age. This is it.
That's nice.
Okay, so this bit I was not expecting. A full-on explanation of the 2 super beings in the film as like ancient titans.
Yeah, you know what? I actually, I found that part really intriguing. Again, mostly because I wasn't expecting it at all, but I love stories like this. So I got really into like, well, yeah, the mythos in it. And, you know, once Charlize's character started talking about like what they were, which was a little ambiguous, but basically like who they are, what they're about, immortal beings. They've been called angels, gods, heroes.
I just thought they left it a bit too ambiguous.
It was too ambiguous.
It's the kind of thing that really, really good writing could have brought this race of titans into the history of man, and it just would have been this really cool, but they just didn't focus on that.
No, it left me a little empty. I read one explanation of someone describing how they were just immortal, this mortal race that eventually, became
mortal and died. But
mortal and
to me, it's like there was an opportunity there to really pop, to use something in human history that would have been really fun. I think they
had like a nugget of very, very interesting storyline there, and they just didn't really develop it very well. Yeah.
What? It's a little tight. What you got?
Okay, the untraditional storyline in Hancock kind of made it hard to tell when the movie was ending. Like there was the battle between the Titans there, where it was like, is that the end? But then it wasn't.
And eventually we get the real final battle.
Yeah.
And it's just some thugs, that Hook man,
Yeah,
with the
Hook
guys
man.
in the ass and stuff like that, which made it a little anticlimactic, eh?
Yeah, you know what? When you're introduced to a supervillain, essentially, like an antithesis, you kind of hope you're going to get something else. But you know what? The detail on just how mortal Hancock was a bit fuzzy. I
Yeah.
mean, he can throw a hospital bed and a gunman out a window.
But still gets shot and stabbed and
stabbed.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he can still jump out of a window and get hit by buses and cars.
And he's okay.
And he's okay.
Yeah, I think the main problem I had with it was that saving each other by remaining apart, it makes good sense considering what you've seen so far, but it just doesn't explain how they both come back from the dead.
Yeah, that was strange. I agree with that. And I have no explanation for it either, actually, but I liked it. I mean, overall, I actually liked the movie. I think it's because the expectation, there was none initially. So watching it
Yeah, that helps.
was a nice surprise.
That really helps. You know what? I set the bar really low on this one. I really
Yeah.
didn't know what to think. And then, mostly because of the lame advertising, I'd say. It was just such an all-over-the-place ad campaign.
I kind of feel bad for this movie. I mean, like we mentioned at the beginning, there's been some growing pains, like development for 10 years. You know, there was like 4 different directors attached to it until they finally made it with like a 5th guy, this Peter Berg guy that did this, The Kingdom or whatnot. I mean, like,
Yeah,
this story, I almost feel like it should never have been made. But
you know what? When
when
it's such difficulty having a film get made, sometimes you have to wonder if it ever should have been. But I'm really happy with what came out. At the end of the day, it is definitely worth seeing. It was a lot of fun.
Sheer entertainment.
Yeah. It's not a great anything, but it comes close in a
It's a
few
good
points.
summer movie.
And
Take your
it's-
family.
Yeah.
Take your girlfriend. Take your boyfriend. Take your grandma.
Take your grandma. There you go. So we've got some more reviews coming out for you.
Yeah, like Hellboy 2 and X-Files 2.
Oh, and that Batman movie that just came out starring the best Batman actor ever, Kevin Conroy. And if you know who I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about.
That's right. If you believe that, it's not Christian Bale in Dark Knight.
So we'll see you soon.
Bye.